Well, good morning, snow disciples. Here we are on a grand Monday, the 6th of February. Our live snow shot of the day comes to us from the mountains of northwest Wyoming. Yes, we are at Tagwody. Oh gosh, had a friend that would go out snowmobiling in our big group, and we probably went. Oh, he went with us probably at least 5-6 times. Kept on calling it Tagwody. It's Togedy. I know, most people do know that it's Togedy. But at any rate, for those that don't know, it is Togedy. Just like it's Berga and Lance. Alright, enough geography lessons for today. Let's get on with the showgram. I don't know what that was about. But gritted snowfall for 3 days, ending this morning. And you can see that our friends in the Sierras got hammered the hardest. About 2 feet of snow with a system that came in Saturday night. Finished up Sunday afternoon. There were some snows out west into Idaho. And also looks like maybe just west of the Island Park area in Idaho got some snows. And you know, you can't leave the UP out of it either. Look at this, I'm multitasking, rolling up my sleeves while I talk. This is the leftovers from Friday's lake effect. And then this light snow up in here was just light snow. We had snow flurries most of the day yesterday. Painted a nice little wintry picture, although it didn't really amount to much. And what's going on right now? Well, I'll tell you what's going on right now. We've got a little bit of light snow activity up across the Dakotas and Minnesota. And then here is that body of snow impacting the Togedy area, as well as I'm sure that the Wasatch down there by Salt Lake City is getting snow. And even the, oh boy, I guess it would be the Teton Range, and then whatever extends south down towards, oh, now I can't even think of it, but some of those good riding areas in far eastern sections of Idaho getting some snows. Otherwise, kind of a quiet map, and that's going to be the trend going forward here for the next probably 7 to maybe 8 or 9 days. We're not storm free, but there is just nothing coming at us that looks to have any kind of real mustard to it. Things may change after that though, and we'll talk about that in just a little minute here. But let's go to the forecast model, shall we? Starting off as usual with the European model. And what we'll look for is some snows to show up in this area here in the next 24 hours or so. They look pretty muted, and part of the reasons, 2 main reasons. Number 1, not a very big system at all. Number 2, there's the possibility of having some freezing rain or really freezing drizzle mixed in. I don't know if it'll be, drops will be big enough to categorize it as rain, but certainly some freezing drizzle possible with the precip tonight. Most of this stuff comes in right around the evening hours, maybe right at sunset or thereabouts, and then continues through the night and finishes off mostly before the sun rises. So if you're up in this neck of the woods, be careful tomorrow morning, because the roads could be very, very slickery with maybe some freezing rain and then snow, freezing drizzle, and then a little bit of snow covering it up, or just really, really, really icy conditions. So I don't want to hear about any of my Snow Church fans getting injured in a car accident, or even non-Snow Church fans. I like those folks too. So then what happens is we quiet it down for a while here till about Thursday, and then we get this other little weak system to come through and bring us these snows. Now, the GFS is not really even indicating this to occur, so we gotta, I guess, not put 100% faith into this idea just yet, but it would be nice to put down some more snows. They have snow on the ground here, and put down some more snows. It is still winter time, so we can hope for that. And then beyond that, there really isn't a whole lot of snow left for the Midwest. Like I say, by the time we get to the very end of the period, there is another one coming up. The Panhandle Hooker. Boy, did I beat that term to death last week. And that's what this is, this Thursday event right here. It's a little weak. Actually, you know what? The low derives itself more towards Louisiana, so it's not a Panhandle Hooker. But this one, by the very end of the forecast period, obviously is. And not the most gigantic of lows like that. You don't even know if there's a regular name for it, so I'm just going to keep calling it a Panhandle Hooker. Get your $100 bills out. So that's that. Not a whole lot of excitement. I mean, if this came true, that wouldn't be too shabby, you know. As far as temperatures go in the next 2 weeks, we're looking at a much milder scenario than we were for most of last week. You know, we were kind of in a deep freeze, and then that deep freeze moved over to the East Coast, and oh my gosh, it's like the end of the world for those folks. That cracks me up, but I guess, you know, they're not as used to brutally cold temperatures as we are. But I do get a chuckle when something that happens on a fairly normal basis here in the upper Midwest hits places that are not quite at the same latitude, but far enough north that they should expect cold air. And it's just the end of the world. But I digress. Oh, the warm-ups, yes. This Wednesday, it looks like just about all of the Midwest will be finding its way above the freezing mark. The Northwoods should probably be somewhere in the like 34 to 38 degree range. And even if you're cloudy, there will be enough February sunshine, which is getting stronger now. It's not as strong as a March or April sun or an August sun, but still, there'll probably be a little bit of melting that occurs, especially on roadways and stuff like that. But again, we drop temperatures back down on Thursday, so it's a one-hit wonder for most of the upper Midwest. And then it looks like Wednesday of next week, we could do the same thing, have a one-hit wonder where everybody bops their head above freezing, but again, just for a day. So for the most part, temperatures will be behaving themselves, not doing a whole lot of damage to the existing snowpack, so that's a good thing. All right, now let's take a look at that GFS model. And it looks even more boring through this week. I mean, we have that system tonight. It's putting a little bit more snows down along the Minnesota North Shore. I'm not really going to argue with that idea. And then quiet until about Thursday, and then there's its Thursday. No, here's its Thursday snows right in there. Not much. Indicates a quick little follow-up system for Saturday, which, I don't know. Not a real firm believer in that, but I guess even if it happened, it'd be fairly inconsequential unless you happen to, you know, have farmland down here and 4 or 5 inches of snow is enough to make you say giddy up and get on your sled and boot around the fields or something like that. But really not much useful snow with that event, even if it did happen. And then we've got that system for about the middle part of next week. Like say about Thursday. And then watch what happens. Things do start to get active. I'll be able to better illustrate this on the map where I show the global 500 millibar level. But at any rate, we get one system to come through right about there. and then another one coming in right about there, and then another one. So now this is 16 days out in the forecast. So this is a little over 2 weeks worth of snowfall, ending on about the 21st of February, and not too shabby if it comes true. This would be keep, you know, all of the upper traditional riding areas of the upper Midwest in very decent shape right on through the 3rd week of February, or into the 3rd week of February. And you'd even, you know, Iowa. I don't know how many trails they have in Iowa, but I do get a lot of feedback from you Iowa riders about wanting snow down there. So perhaps this may come true and set the stage for you. And that's all I can do as far as poetry for this morning. But not a bad looking map. Now let's go to that 500 millibar. And what I'm going to do here is obviously blow it up a little bit. I can't blow it up too much, just because then I lose all my little animation tools and stuff like that. But what I can do, well, here's what I'll do. I just had a brilliant idea. All right, so the United States is right here. I know it's very, very difficult. You know, another trick to watching these videos is to go to the YouTube screen there and click on the lower right, and then a little like box thing will open up. Click on that. It'll open it full screen in your browser. Much easier to see. If you're watching this on a smartphone or something like that, my heart goes out to you. It'll do full screen on that too, but these videos are really primo, I think, for a bigger screen. So anyway, United States right here, and what we'll see, I'll animate this, we'll see these little short waves come through, and these are these weak little systems that bring, you know, the light precipitation, light snow to the northern Midwest, light rains to the southern Midwest, and then this poor system kind of gets stuck down in the Four Corners area for a while, but it eventually does bebop out. Trying to see where we're at here. 210. Okay, this is where the forecast starts to get to be a little bit more active. You can see all these systems lined up, and these impulses will come riding through along the jet stream, and each one of them will have an impact on the Midwest, with upper Midwest, especially with snows. There's one, there's another one, and then that last one comes sneaking in right about there. So there are 3 systems lined up by the time we get to the second half of next week, and all 3 of them have the potential to bring some fairly significant snows to the Midwest. Not, you know, huge 2-foot type snows, but some, you know, at least double-digit snows to the upper Midwest. So now what I've done is I've zoomed in a little bit. This is a North America view. The United States is in here. Wisconsin's right here. Don't want the sounding. Sounding sounds. But what we can do is get a better look at those waves as they come through. So here's this week, just sort of chopped off waves, nothing that looks all that impressive. This is that system for, say, the end of the week that brings a little bit healthier snows to areas of the upper Midwest. But it's really right about here. Once this short wave in the Southwest United States gets kicked out, then we'll see these parades come through. This one itself could produce some pretty healthy snows by, what are we looking at? Well, next Wednesday. And then this next one, that would be by about Friday or so, Friday, Saturday of next week, I believe. Yep. And then we get this final one to come in way towards the end of the period. All of those could be some meaningful snow producers. So there is, I guess, hope for the future for those wanting a really, really big storm. It seems like, especially here in the Keweenaw, we have not had, I mean, last week we had, persistent lake effect snows, and there was the one overnight period where Lake Houghton and Hancock got 12 inches of snow, but that wasn't an area-wide situation, and it was lake effect snow, pretty light and fluffy. What I'm talking about is one of those storms that comes up and paints white from like Duluth to Iron Mountain, Michigan, and gets all of the north, Wisconsin Northwoods, gets all of the UP with a foot and a half of snow. Those are the ones that I really like to see, but we really haven't had that in at least quite some time. I believe we've had one or two this winter. I also believe both of them missed the Keweenaw for whatever reason, but we'll see. The good news is 2 minor warm days, not major meltdowns, but 2 minor melts, and intermittent fresh snow. So it looks like we'll only be adding to the snowpack as we go through the next 10 days to 2 weeks, and that'll take us into about the 3rd week of February, and we could be in better shape then than we are now, and it's not a whole lot to argue about or complain about, because we've seen winters where the exact opposite starts happening around now. We start to see, warm air sneaking up and slowly chewing away at the snowpack, and we're probably only about a month from when that will happen, just because it's the time of the year that it happens. But for now, it looks like at least another 2, maybe 3 weeks left of some pretty good snow play. So don't put away those skis, or keep them snowmobiles ready to go. And I don't know, don't cancel any trips, because looks like we still got some good snow play ahead of us. I'll end it on that note, folks. Thanks for joining me. Please, please, please don't forget to share this. Hit the share button, hit the like button, tell your friends about it. Because this is slowly replacing the forecast text. Yes, I have decided that I am going to, at least starting today, all it is bullet points. And I'll see if I even get rid of those. But for now and the foreseeable future, text is going to be bullet points. You want the finer details? You got to come and look at my ugly mug and put up with my shenanigans. Have a great one. Keep those sticks on the ice, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.